Hey guys, welcome to my new series. Lost media is, without a doubt, one of my most popular topics, as well as something I love dabbling in. I get sent a lot of pieces of lost media that I would like to talk about, but I can't really dedicate a full video to. Well, that's what this new series is for. And this time, it won't be limited to just kid shows or a specific category. I'll be diving into all kinds of media, digging up stories that I wanted to make videos on, but couldn't. So without further ado, let's take a look. We've covered many cases of lost media on this channel. Lost films, television, video games, even music. But we've never covered lost creepypastas. In the early 2000s, these paranormal horror stories took the internet by storm. 4chan threads were the birthplaces of what would become some of the most famous creepypastas, such as Ben Drowned, Jeff the Killer, and many, many more. Camera Heads was one of these stories. At least it might have been. A user on Reddit known as Hope1820 posts about it in the creepypasta subreddit. The story follows a man who discovers a torn backpack and bucks everywhere while walking. The character finds the backpack, which has a tape, a broken camera, and a letter that says, "I killed a camera head." The character investigates what may have happened, but finds out he is being stalked by creatures called the Camera Heads. The character slowly descends into madness as he looks further into what the Camera Heads are. Besides from their name, they are described to be kind of like the Rake and Slenderman, especially in behavior. Interestingly, the Camera Heads predate those two characters allegedly. Another thing about them stated in a post I found said the details of their body was like something from H.R. Geiger, where they were half mechanical creatures. Additional things recalled about the story is that the tape mentioned earlier was like the memories from the camera head of what it saw. According to the Obscurbin Legends wiki, the camera heads are said to look very human, and are meant to serve as living surveillance cameras. In some cases, they are completely unaware of this. In others, they instead have a giant camera as a head. The Camera Heads creepypasta supposedly included cursed photos, documents of victims, and elements of an ARG. Readers were able to analyze these pictures and documents to partake in the adventure with the main character, as he slowly goes insane. The story also could have served as commentary on government surveillance conspiracies, especially considering that this story was a few years after 9/11. So how could an online story go missing? You'd think that something like this would be easier to copy and save when compared to a film or an episode of television. Well, back in the day, 4chan had a wiki for its paranormal board called XWiki or Xenopedia. Among the many tales that were posted there was the Camera Heads creepypasta. Unfortunately, sometime in the early 2010s, the wiki was forgotten about and stopped receiving attention, causing it to be shut down. A lot of stories that were on that site were deleted alongside with it, including Camera Heads and the media involved. The earliest available archives of 4chan's paranormal board date back to 2014, when users were first realizing that the creepypasta was missing, so searching through the archives is pointless. There are very few tales of Camera Heads online, a notable one being from the Wayback Machine, where we can clearly see the story listed on the XWiki under the bullshit category. Since then, the pasta gets brought up from time to time, but no one can truly recall the whole story other than some brief descriptions. And that's basically all we know about the Camera Heads, a long-lost creepypasta that only exists in the memories of a few people. My personal takeaway from this? I do personally believe that this story exists, and I want to see it found. It just sounds like an old-school creepypasta, something that would terrify me when I was younger. Something that would make me think it's real. I know that sounds silly now, but some of the most well-known creepypastas had that element to them. A photograph, an email, some kind of footage that connected them to our world. And Camera Heads seems to follow in their footsteps. But that's coming from me, someone who was really into creepypastas back in the day. And this lost story seems to date back even further. And that's how I feel this piece of lost media can be found, through somebody who was around during those early years, who hopefully have the story, or at least bits of it saved on their old computer or something. But for now, it will remain a mystery. Dragon Ball is of course one of the most well-known franchises in the world, but its journey to America wasn't as smooth. I've noticed that, for some reason, Dragon Ball has gone through a ton of different English dubs. Some didn't last too long, while others are painfully hilarious.
Answer me. Who are you?
It's Big Green!
Let that child alone.
Fumicom has a great video on the subject that I recommend checking out. The most mysterious of these dubs is the Harmony Gold dub. This was the first ever attempt at bringing Dragon Ball overseas to a Western audience in the late 1980s. A small television company called Harmony Gold purchased the license to Dragon Ball from Toei Animation and began working on the series. Harmony Gold had previously found success in 1985 with Robotech, so dubbing Dragon Ball seemed like a solid job. However, only 5 episodes were ever produced. This is because these episodes were test marketed on several independent stations, but was dropped due to poor ratings. Unfortunately, no TV station would pick up the series afterwards, and it's now widely believed that Harmony Gold never produced any further episodes. Harmony Gold also dubbed the first and third movie, called Dragon Ball Curse of the Blood Rubies and Dragon Ball Mystical Adventure respectively, into one feature. Fortunately, the whole film has been found and uploaded into 5 parts on YouTube. The videos were removed by Toei Animation due to copyright issues, but were saved and later uploaded onto archive.org in 2015. While the movie is safe from becoming lost again, the first 5 episodes of the dub weren't as lucky. Since then, nothing new has been discovered for decades, and the Harmony Gold dub is often referred to as the Lost dub, for how obscure it is. One of the most infamous things about this show were all the changes made to most of the characters' names. Goku was changed to Zero, Bone was changed to Lina, Oolong to Mao Mao, and a whole slew of others. Several years later, Harmony Gold tried their luck again by producing a Spanish dub called Zero y el Dragon Magical. The company used their English dubbings of the first 5 episodes as the basis for the first 5 episodes of the Spanish dub. However, they no longer had their original audio masters, forcing the production team to insert their own music over some of the English voice acting in an attempt to cover their previous work. In 2007, a Facebook page for the Spanish version of the show was created. The page had low-quality VHS rips of episodes 3, 4, and 5, and were the only remnants of the Harmony Gold dub available. For a lost anime that aired on a very limited number of stations back in the 80s, you'd think that finding it would be near impossible. And for a long time, people did. That is until February 21st, 2020, when a post was made on the DBZ subreddit by a user known as Bun39. The post said, "After years of searching, an anonymous source sent me this. The first episode of the Harmony Gold dub of the original Dragon Ball." The post included an archive.org link, which led users to a low-quality rip of the first episode. When asked about it on the Lost Film subreddit, a user known as Super Toad had this to say. Well, as we know, there was a group of hoarders who did have the Harmony Gold dub on VHS, but they never showed anyone the episodes. After 4 decades, yes, Dragon Ball is that old now, an anonymous internet user sent a video of it to a Reddit user, Bud39. He did the right thing and uploaded it to the Internet Archives, as he thought that people should see it. He posted about it on r/DBZ, and then I found this video of the episode on archive.org. Interesting story, don't you think? So this confirms that all 5 episodes do exist, and are in the hands of a group of hoarders. But our story doesn't end there. On March 1st, 2020, Bun39 returned with the remaining 4 episodes. He posted them on the Lost Film subreddit, claiming that they were uncovered after sitting in storage since 1991. A few days later, the real founder was revealed to be a man named Ryan Gavigan, one of the founders of Anime Hell. I sent Ryan an email hoping to learn more about where he found these episodes, but I haven't gotten a response. Hey guys, so last minute edit, the day before I was going to upload this video, I got a quick interview with Tom Servo from the Kaizenshu forums. He was pretty heavily involved with the search and had a lot of great information, so I interviewed him and this is what he had to say.
Harmony Gold dubbed at least the first 5 episodes of the Dragon Ball series, as well as movies 1 and 3 edited together. Those movies were the only known copies of the dub to exist until 2015, when user K17 received a copy of episode 1 of the Harmony Gold dub from a user named Takarajima. We'll get back to him later. And Takarajima's copy, unfortunately, was not public. He wanted to keep the tape very well, close, tight-knit in a very small community of people. However, K17 would eventually upload a clip of episode 1 to his international DBZ channel sometime in September to December of 2015. That inspired me a few years later to actually continue the search. So in February of 2020, I decided to contact an anonymous individual on the Kanzenshu forums who happened to have the file that was sent to him by Takarajima. And it was also revealed to me that Takarajima also had another alias by the name of Anime Senin on the old school otaku forums. He's not very active there. I tried to contact him. He just didn't seem interested, so I left it at that. But the file I was sent was about 22 minutes long, and it was missing the first half of the opening credits, but other than that, the whole episode was there. It looked to be from the same exact master that K17's clip was from, and I took a very extended look and did confirm that it was the same master. But it was a compressed MP4 file, so the tape itself wasn't the best quality. It appeared to be high generation. So after that, once I received the file, I decided to release it. I released it to the Internet Archive, and there was immediate interest in the Kanzenshu forums to see, hey, do you have more episodes? But this individual user, apparently Takarajima, had only found episode 1. Episodes 2 through 5, which were the known episodes to exist at the time, just weren't in his possession. So what I decided to do was first contact K17. And K17 was kind enough to respond saying that he did have a higher quality copy of episode 1. In this case, instead of a compressed MP4, it was a direct DVD rip in VOB format. And on top of that, he did not have episodes 2 to 5 either. So what I did was I went on to Google Groups, which is an archive pretty much of all the Usenet posts from the 1980s and 1990s. So what I did was I went into rec.arts.anime and basically searched a term, basically Dragon Ball Harmony Gold, Dragon Ball Dub, Dragon Ball Detroit, Dragon Ball Philadelphia, and eventually led me to 2 individuals, one in California and one in Indiana. I immediately contacted the California person and also contacted him via phone with his consent, but he was not confident that he still had the episodes, as many of his tapes were traded away over the years, and he was busy. He's an engineer at Dell. He had better things to do than search for a 30-year-old tape. So that didn't work out. The other person was actually an individual by the name of Ryan Gavigan. He is known as being one of the hosts of popular anime convention program Anime Hell. And he was kind enough to search his basement. He was cleaning the basement, so he happened to have a reason to search for the tape. A couple days later, he sent me a picture of the tapes that he found, one of which was labeled Dragon Ball English Episodes. And he decided to look at the tape really quick because he had other things to do that day, and he confirmed with me that all 5 known episodes of the Harmony Gold dub were on it. So as a result, he said he would transfer the tape, and upload it to a Google Drive that I could get so I could share the files publicly. As a result, after that, he started the transferring process. He did a test clip of a couple of seconds, actually a couple of minutes of the tape, and unfortunately, it suffered from gain problems in the sense that there was a lot of clipping. There was a lot of audio, just distortion everywhere. So we turned down the gain. Now, Mr. Gavigan was unfortunately not the most knowledgeable on the ripping process, and a lot of people would eventually complain about the rips later on. But he used an easy cap. He plugged it into his computer. He plugged the other end of the easy cap to his SVHS VCR, and he would put it through OBS, record it, and split it into episodes using Adobe Premiere. Now, a lot of the purists and a lot of the big video files were not happy that he was basically re-encoding the video over and over again. But we had to make do with what we had. And he was not willing to send it out to somebody to get a more professional transfer. So after that, he decided to turn down the gain on his OBS, transfer the tape, edit the episodes, and after that, he uploaded the MP4 files to a Google Drive. On March 1st, 2020, around 4 in the morning, I was sleeping. I got the notification on Messenger with a Google Drive link. I was like, holy moly, the episodes are finally here. So I rushed to my computer, download the Google Drive files, and just quickly looked them over. Yeah, the later episodes did have gain problems still, but they were more than usable. Multiple people are trying to restore it to a good quality, or at least a better quality than what exists, because the existing copies are very high generation VHS tapes, and it could be improved. So we're looking forward to the future. We're looking forward to seeing what we can do with these episodes now that they exist. And just now that they exist is a big deal. And it's a big deal in the history of Dragon Ball in the United States and English-speaking audiences.
As of now, all 5 episodes of the Harmony Gold's dubbing of Dragon Ball have been found and uploaded onto the Internet Archive. There are still some unanswered questions in my mind, like who are these hoarders? Why did they keep the dub away from the public for so long? And where exactly did Ryan find these clips? In storage seems like too simple of an answer, but that's just what I think. I haven't been able to find any solid answers online. But for now, this case is closed. This is one that I keep getting requests for. I've already made a small post about my thoughts on the missing anime, but considering that I still get requests and questions about Go for a Punch, I thought I would give in and finally talk about this. Also, the search is kinda dead at this point, so now is the perfect time for me to make a video on this topic. I really contemplated whether or not I should make a video on this piece of lost media back when it wasn't as known. I think I strayed away from it because there wasn't much to it other than random leads and comments from 4chan and Reddit. The video just wouldn't be an in-depth search for, like with Clockman or Cracks. But now with this new series, I can talk about whatever piece of lost media I want. And this is definitely one of the most popular pieces to surface in recent times. But anyways, let's finally talk about Go for a Punch. Our story begins in 2015, when a post was made on 4chan's X Paranormal board asking users to share the most fucked up thing you've seen on the deep web. A user on February 21st, 2015 commented, "Some weird anime about naked girls stuck in a large bathroom without doors, having a philosophical debate about never getting out of the room. After losing hope and starving for some days, everything goes downhill. They just start screaming and yelling. Then they all commit suicide, either by smashing their heads on the floor or scratching their necks to bloody pieces. One girl helped the other to drown in the sink because she asked her to hold her because she couldn't do it. I cried myself to sleep after watching that vid because I just didn't know anymore. Why would anyone draw that with such precision? It was goddamn horrifying. Looked 80ish in quality, audio too. Japanese dub, English subs. Lasted for about 30 minutes. No credits, but it seemed ripped. Voices sounded very young, but Japanese sound young in their 50s. Haven't found or seen it again. The name of the vid was something along the lines of "Go for a punch" or something. Users on 4chan began asking for details about this anime. How did the girls look, Anon? And when did you watch it? Some of us are really interested. He responded, little, rather far apart eyes, almost like by Miyazaki. Most had bushy brown hair, and only one, the one that was drowned, had really brightly colored hime cut. I watched it in 2011 for sure. Ask me more details if you want. I remember everything, and not just because I had partially photographic memory, but because it was really intense for me at the time. Especially because of one particular scream one girl had. It had a really strange echo to it, and it almost made me dizzy. The closest reproduction of that sound I can find is from the Shining soundtrack, Dies Irae. I changed the pitch so it's more like it. I swear if I'll hear the real thing again, I'll go berserk. It just has this abstract feeling to it that doesn't go away for a long time. It definitely wins the time record for character development. I really felt bad for all of them. There was 9 girls in the room. 8 of them looked really similar, but all their voices varied. There was not even instrumental music, just occasional ambience throughout the video. What was most unsettling about the suicide scene were the weird camera angles, and no horror music, as I'd expect. Just girls softly sobbing and gagging as they ripped their necks open with their fingers. They looked like an embodiment of lost hope. And the head smashing parts, I don't even want to go into details. Title of the video was probably not true to the original, since this is deep web we're talking about, even less reliable source of information than shit posters on 4chan. But even if it was deleted, there should still be a way of restoring it, since it was once posted on the internet. That depends on time though. There was a lot of discussion about this anime on this thread, but the last one I want to talk about is this one. I got the name Saki Sanobashi on A. Ring any bells? Funnily enough, searching that on Google gives no results, and the mod/janitors just deleted my thread. Is this your anime, Anon? It's worth noting that this anime also often goes by Saki Sanobashi, but as far as I can tell, this is the first instance of that name being used, meaning it isn't actually the name of the anime, nor is Go for a Punch, which makes finding it even more difficult. Although the 4chan comment did gain a lot of attention from users on the thread, no information about the anime ever came forward. There was the occasional Reddit post or 4chan thread here or there, but for years, nothing was ever uncovered. And then in November of 2019, fellow YouTuber Wang made a video on this topic, and that's when the search really exploded. A growing community of lost media enthusiasts and anime fans came together to form the Saki Sanobashi subreddit. Even more posts were made on Reddit and the Lost Media Wiki, with people desperately trying to find it, people claiming to remember it, and people even claiming to have it. Of course, it still wasn't found. I think one of the reasons why Saki became incredibly popular was, 1, it was something that a lot of people wanted to see, and therefore wanted it to be real. It sounded pretty cool, and something that seems genuinely scary. And 2, it seemed instantly familiar. Even when I was reading about this lost anime, I could picture it in my head. I could imagine what the scenes looked like, and that made it feel real to me. So for people who are avid anime watchers, reading this must have jogged something up in their memories. Unfortunately, that's where the search pretty much ends. Like I said before, there's tons of people claiming to have seen this anime, and they even go so far as to provide details, but not a single person has provided evidence that this thing actually exists. Finally, on December 22nd, 2019, A post was made on the Saki Sanobashi subreddit by a user known as Saki Sanobashi OP. The post was titled, "I am the OP of Saki Sanobashi. It's fake, and I'm sorry." I made the original post about Go for a Punch, or as it's now called, Saki Sanobashi, as a joke. It all started when I was browsing 4chan and found a thread that was asking about the scariest things that you found on the deep web. And in classic 4chan user fashion, I decided to troll a little, just for fun. I made up some cliche, spoopy lost episode-esque story in like 5 minutes, and gave it an awkward sounding English title, since a lot of anime, especially low budget / quality ones, have names like that. My only purpose was to troll the OP of the original thread, since he seemed pretty gullible seeing as he was asking people about the scariest thing that they've seen on the deep web, and expected a serious answer from 4chan. I had completely forgotten about all of this until just recently, when Wang, who I watch religiously, uploaded a video about it. I was really shocked when I realized that he was talking about me, since I didn't think that anyone would actually believe my obvious BS. It was also pretty surreal that not only had my favorite YouTuber made a video about a stupid troll post that I made, but that so many people had dedicated time and effort into looking for it. After I watched Wang's video, I started lurking in a few of the discords dedicated to finding Saki, and the subreddit. I didn't do much, I mostly just read what other people were saying, and joked around a little bit. Nothing big, just some minor trolling here and there. I didn't write any of the fake "I saw Saki" posts. I didn't feel bad about tricking all of you at first. In fact, I had a pretty good laugh out of seeing how people had dedicated so much time and effort to finding a clearly phony story. But as time went on, and I started seeing more and more YouTube videos being made about the topic, and saw people who were incredibly dedicated, such as F Neo, I started to feel kind of bad. But I didn't want to put an end to the search just yet, as it still was pretty funny. Especially the discords, they're wild. All of this brings me to today, when I've decided to put an end to this stupid joke that has gone on for far, far too long. I obviously don't have any evidence that I'm actually the OP, and I don't think there's even any way to prove it. I can already see everyone vehemently denying that I am the OP, and continuing the search as if nothing happened. But just to clear my conscience, Saki is fake. I made the whole thing up as a stupid troll. I didn't think that anyone would actually believe me, and I couldn't even imagine that it was possible for it to blow up to this level. I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm honestly really flattered that so many people have gathered to search for something that I made up in a few minutes. I remember seeing a post just a few days ago where someone made a Discord to recreate Saki. I don't think anything will come out of it, as I'm sure that people will lose interest in the project, but I would be honored if people actually made this into a real thing. I have nothing left to say, other than offering all of you a sincere apology for having tricked you for so long. The user even included some of the images he used in the 4chan post as proof that it was him. Of course, since 4chan is anonymous, there is no way to know for sure. Redditors in the comments also pointed out several problems with the OP's post. For example, the image data could have easily been faked. And if it isn't fake, why would he keep a random image for nearly 5 years? The OP claimed that he simply doesn't delete downloaded images from his phone. He acknowledges that the image date could have been manipulated, but it's really the only proof he can provide. But who knows? This could honestly just be another troll. And that's pretty much where the search ended. Unfortunately, nothing was ever uncovered. The subreddit is kind of dead, and some are now focused on creating it. To end this section, I thought I'd give my thoughts on the anime. I don't think it exists. For starters, I'm not a massive anime watcher or anything, but I have no idea why an anime would be on the deep web to begin with. Also, hearing stuff like it causing OP to cry himself to sleep after watching it sounds more like a creepypasta. I mean, we almost have the hyper-realistic cliche in there too. People often like to compare this to Clockman, as that was also a very long search that started with a person posting in a forum. But at least Clockman was connected to something like Pinwheel. And also the Bungie forums was a public forum, and the OP, Commander Santa, was able to communicate with other people who remembered the Clockman shorts, and confirm that what they were describing were either true or not. However, the OP on 4chan that first posted about Go for a Punch included quite a bit of detail, and he casually mentioned it in a way that didn't seem like he was trying to get attention. Also, Commander Santa's description of Clockman was way different than what the short ended up being. So maybe Go for a Punch is also out there, but just different than how we've been imagining it. Saying all that, I'm personally in the camp that it doesn't exist. It could make for a great story, and who knows, maybe this is all just part of one big grand search. But for now, it'll remain a mystery. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Sorry that there's only 3 pieces of lost media. The Saki Sanabashi part was way longer than I thought, and there was another piece of lost media that I wanted to include, but it might actually get its own video. Anyways, love you all, and I'll see you next time.